So, today we're gonna go look at some personality tests. And then we're gonna go over and try out some other personality tests. Let's go. You regularly make new friends. No, that rarely happens. I'll slightly. You often make a backup plan for a backup plan. Not really. I mean, unless we're talking about like careers, because you need a backup plan for a backup plan with your career options. Not really. I kind of just go with the flow, hope things work out. Let's go with disagree. You usually stay calm, even under a lot of pressure. No. Unfortunate. Next. Okay. You prefer to completely finish one project before starting another. Well, I mean, with books, I like to read each book first and finish that story before reading the next book. But if we're talking about, like, art projects or other stuff like that, I have, like, 4 art projects going on, and I haven't finished a single one of them. That's what I monkey over here. It's really kind of, I'm start this other art piece, I was, like, Egyptian stuff going on there, and I was, like, thinking about starting a different project, and I also have this other project going on that started, and I haven't finished any of them. You have to keep starting new projects, and planning on starting another project. Sorry. Even a small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. Yeah, sometimes. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone and you find interesting and you feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. I need to learn how to read. I need to get better. I need to be better. I shall be better. You rarely worry about whether you make a good impression on people you meet. I agree with this. I rarely worry. You're prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worse. I mean, I do have faith that things will go right, but sometimes you need to be prepared for when things go wrong. But it's kind of a waste to be completely worrying about what's gonna go wrong. I can think about the things that I need to be worried about, but I'm not gonna spend my time worrying about it. Okay, you enjoy watching people argue. Sorry. Well, it depends on the argument, guys, okay? Don't attack me for this one, okay? Just some arguments are really funny, okay? After a long, exhausting week, a lively social event is just what you need. Oh, no. Absolutely not. You enjoy going to an art museum. You avoid making phone calls. Oh, highly disagree. I love making phone calls. I like talking to people over the phone. You often spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different. Yeah, I do that quite often. I like to, I wouldn't say like write stories, but I like to imagine stories and like different people from like different lands, whether it be fantasy or real life, or if it's just, or if the story's just halfway across the world. I want to understand what those people are thinking. If your plans are interrupted, your top priority is to get back on track as soon as possible. Well, it depends on the thing. If I'm like watching a video and I'm really interested in that video, but if I get interrupted, I'm gonna want to go back as soon as possible. But if it's like, say I'm playing a video game, well, sure, I want to go back and play that video game, but it isn't as important. But that's not as important to me as other things in my life. Yeah, a little bit. You're still bothered by mistakes that you made a long time ago. I would put it here. I would put it up here, but I'm happy that I made those mistakes because it helped me become a better person in the end. I'm still bothered that I made those mistakes, and I still regret making those mistakes, but they did change who I am as a person, and I have to recognize that. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized, consistent efforts on my own without school, because school keeps you on a schedule, right? But at home, yeah, it's definitely spontaneous bursts of energy. You believe that pondering abstract philosophical questions is a waste of time. I don't know, but I don't think it's necessarily a waste of time. People make their jobs after that. You feel more drawn to places with busy, bustling atmospheres than quiet, intimate places. Yeah, my house is a busy, bustling place. And when I need to concentrate on something, I want it quiet, like dead quiet, but You know if at first glance how someone is feeling. Not really. You feel confident that things will work out for you. Yeah. I can put my gender. Yeah, it's female. Let's see. I am a commander. Ooh, this is interesting. Mind. This trait determines how we interact with our environment, and I am extroverted. Commander. I need to have like other people take this test. Everything is like very split down the middle. Intuitive, energy. All right then. Now, so my personality is the commander. Introduction. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Steve Jobs. Commanders are natural born leaders. People with this personality type embody the gifts of charisma and confidence, and project authority in a way that draws crowds together behind a common goal. However, commanders are also characterized by an often ruthless level of rationality, using their drive, determination, and sharp minds to achieve whatever end they've set for themselves. Perhaps it is best that they make up only 3% of the population, lest they overwhelm the more timid and sensitive personality types that make up much of the rest of the world. But we have commanders to thank for many of the businesses and institutions we take for granted every day. Is it just me, or does that not really sound like me? Let's go over to strengths and weaknesses. Commander C, inefficient. Read, Kaori. Efficient. Commanders see inefficiency not just as a problem in its own right, but as something that pulls time and energy away from all their future goals. An elaborate sabotage consisting of irrational and laziness, people with the commander personality type will root out such behavior wherever they go. I mean, in some elements, I'm kind of like that. Energetic, self-confident, strong-willed, strategic thinkers, charismatic, and inspiring. Weaknesses. Stubborn and dominant. Sometimes all this confidence and willpower can go too far, and commanders are all too capable of digging in their heels, trying to win every single debate and pushing their vision and theirs alone. Intolerant. Impatient. Arrogant, poor handling of emotions, cold and ruthless. Now, some of these things I do think I have. Some of these things I do think that embodied me as a person I'm trying to get better at, or things that I think I do have about myself. I do think I am quite an energetic person. I think that I have some semblance of self-confidence in myself, and I wouldn't say that I'm efficient. Far from it, exactly. Strategic thinker, some people would definitely disagree. Strong-willed, I do think of these things of myself, but I also do think I can be quite stubborn. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily intolerant, but I do like pushing or promoting my ideas. It's kind of looking at my, not in a romantic relationship. What about friendships? Okay. As in most aspects of their lives, in friendship, commanders seek personal growth and inspiration, and they often have a plan for how to accomplishment. Friendships or circumstance, built on things like shared routines, are not commanders' preferred method. Rather, they pursue their friends, seek out individuals who share their deep passion for deep, meaningful discussions, and who enjoy learning and development as much as they do. It is not always easy to be a commander's friends. They demand a lot from these relationships, but they pay a great deal of attention to their friendships, and it is unlikely that it will ever feel stagnant. It's not easy to stand up to a personality as big and blustery as commanders, and they too often find that others crumple under the force they apply when they really start to enjoy themselves. Now, I would say that a lot of this, yes, I am quite a little bit of. But in other aspects of, I don't really think I am. Like, I am definitely not an over-rational person. I do try to think of things in a rational perspective, but I am quite an emotional person. I cry at movies. I cry over very simple things. I try to understand other people's emotions very often because I want to understand that. I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily rational. Okay, so that's the first personality test. Let's go hit up the next one. Alright, let's check this. Choose the answer that best describes you. Your gut reaction is often the correct choice. Don't pick an answer because it's what society would want. Be true to yourself. Be as honest as possible if you don't like the answer. Roommates. It's great to have someone when you get home. You'd rather live by yourself. You're going on a day trip to the mountains. You plan out where you want to go. You just get in the car and go. Your desk is usually super organized, a jumble of what you're working on. If you had to choose, you'd rather be a designer. Your boss is good-natured but inconsistent. You prefer more reliability even if it means sacrificing friendliness. You'd rather he remain friendly even if he stays unreliable. Thinking about this with like teachers. I mean, it's important that I learn, man. You'd consider it a compliment if someone called you a consistently reasonable person, a person with depth of feeling. Probably this one more. The most important thing I'd want to improve about myself is I want to be a better listener. Stress in my life, probably a better listener. My education level is high school. My age is under 18. My gender is female. Anyway, so personality profile. Now if we go over here and we go over and I look at some of the other personality types. ENFJ, the giver. Yeah. So we have in this category ENFJ. So it's put me under the diplomats with the protagonist. So this is what, oh god, the giver, or the protagonist on the other one. Intuitive, influential, loyal, balance, approval, strengths and weaknesses. And I have to pay. So, with this one, instead of just reading all of this stuff, we're just going to go over into this one. Protagonists feel called to serve a greater purpose in life, thoughtful and idealistic. These personality types strive to have a more positive impact on other people and the world around them. They rarely shy away from an opportunity to do the right thing, even when doing so is far from easy. Speaking up for what's right, changing people's mind is no easy task, but if anyone can do it, it's the protagonist. Getting involved. Protagonists are genuine, caring people who talk the talk and walk the walk. Nothing makes them happier than motivating other people to do what's right. Leading the way. Oh, right, I never did check. I gotta go check that real quick. So I got the commander. So I want to go see what celebrities there are. So we have Steve Jobs, Gordon Ramsay. Bro, I am not in the same category as Gordon Ramsay. You got me messed up. Margaret Thatcher, Franklin D. Roosevelt, and Jim Carrey. And under this one, the protagonist, we have Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, John Cusack, Ben Affleck. Anyway, so let's go into strengths and weaknesses. Strengths. Receptive. Protagonists have strong opinions, but they're far from close-minded. They recognize the importance of allowing others to express themselves fully. Even when protagonists don't agree with someone, they recognize the person's right to voice their truth. Reliable, passionate. Weaknesses. Unrealistic. Many protagonists put pressure on themselves to do right every wrong that they encounter, but no matter how hard these personalities strive, it just isn't realistic for them to solve all the world's problems. If they aren't careful, they can spread themselves too thin and be left unable to help anyone. Overly idealistic, condescending, intense, over empathetic, and altruistic and charismatic. Now, quite a few of these things, I do agree with this one a lot more than the commander person, but I do disagree with a few things about myself. Connecting with other people makes protagonists feel alive and purposeful. It's no surprise then that they are anything but apathetic about read! It's no surprise then that they are anything but apathetic about friendship. Protagonists put sincere, dedicated effort into staying close with their friends. For these personalities, friendship are far from expendable or insignificant. Instead, they're a key component of a life well lived. Protagonists surround themselves with all sorts of friends and acquaintances, including those whose experiences and ideas differ wildly from their own. I would say one thing that I do agree about the last one, the commander, is that I feel like the friendships tab was a lot more pertaining to me. What you have read so far is an introduction to the complexities of of the protagonist personality. Read type. Along the way, you may have muttered to yourself, well, this is so accurate, it's a little creepy. Or finally, someone understands me. You may have even asked, how do they know more about me than the people I'm closest to do? That's a bit. No, not really. You've missed out on a lot of my personality, but yeah, I'd say you got quite a bit of it right. So we'll say, I think protagonist is a much better fit for me, but I do think I do have a lot of traits from commander. It's a bit of a mishmash. I don't really think I'm a commander. I don't. How did I get that? Bye and have a nice day.